My younger sister, M, stole my trust fund boyfriend, Mike, and got pregnant with his child. Furious, I started dating a broke mechanic, Jake. His handsome features instantly stole my heart. So what if he's poor? I could work 2 jobs to support us. That is, until M showed up flaunting Mike in his Maserati. My broke boyfriend snapped, arriving in a Rolls-Royce with bodyguards. He smashed the Maserati. You think chump change makes you hot shit? Punk? I'm pregnant. The baby's Mike's. M slapped the ultrasound on the table with vindictive glee. The words gold-digging bitch might as well have been tattooed across her smug face. My hands shook as I stared at the report. You shameless whore. I slapped her hard across the cheek. Mike was my boyfriend. My own sister had seduced him and carried his child. Our stepmother charged at me, screaming, "You pathetic loser. Can't keep your man, then take it out on M? Mike dated you 3 years without proposing. He never loved you. Rich boys like him get snatched up, better family keeps him than strangers." Her warped logic made me nauseous. This homewrecker who trapped our father with a pregnancy was now justifying her daughter stealing my boyfriend the same way. Like mother, like daughter, disgusting. I yanked M's hair, landing 3 more resounding slaps before storming out. Texting Mike rear through. I blocked him everywhere. Love fades. But betrayal? Unforgivable. Riding my scooter aimlessly through the suburbs. My luck hit rock bottom. The bike broke down in the middle of nowhere. Phone dead. Kicking the useless machine, I collapsed in frustrated sobs. God. That's an ugly cry. The raspy voice belonged to a guy in basketball shorts and a faded tee, disheveled but stupidly handsome. Beyond caring about pride, I approached. Hey. My bike died. Can I borrow your phone? No. He shrugged. Name's Jake. Asshole. Probably some suburban drug dealer. As I fumed, Jake grabbed tools from his car and started tinkering with my scooter. 10 minutes later, fixed. Thank you. I mumbled, guilt-tinged. Maybe I'd misjudged him. 500. What? My chest burned. 10 minutes work for $500? That's robbery. The guy lurking around the outskirts in the middle of the night was definitely trouble. After hours service costs extra. Don't wanna pay? I'll put your car back the way I found it. Jake saw right through my panic. Stranded with a dead phone and a busted motorcycle in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't afford pride. When Jake stood there waiting for payment, I had to admit I'd rushed out without my wallet. He scribbled an address on a greasy napkin. Bring the cash here. How generous. I sneered. Skip payment and I'll file theft charges. He shot back. Jerk. I spat on the ground as his taillights disappeared. Back home, Mike waited on my porch with M clinging to his arm. Katie. I messed up. Mike blubbered. That night with M meant nothing. Let's work this out. Save it. We're done. 3 years since college down the drain because he'd screwed my stepsister. Even her fake tears made me nauseous. I never meant to steal him. M sniffled while Mike comforted her. Dad's reaction topped everything. Michael comes from good stock. If he prefers Emily, at least he stays in the family. I changed the locks that afternoon, which explained why I stood at Jake's auto shop the next day settling my debt. The mechanic emerged in his standard tank top and flip-flops. Mr. Wilson, your payment. My rental agent chose that moment to text. The caller ID showed Jake Wilson when I dialed my new tenant. You're my landlord? He raised an eyebrow. Not anymore. No way I'm renting to some shady night-prowling extortionist. Double rent. Not happening. Triple. Sign here. I slapped down the contract so fast his head spun. When he scanned the QR code for deposit and 3 months advance, the satisfying cha-ching of my payment app drowned out his muttered complaints about scheming women. If he backs out, he has to pay triple the penalty. Jake pays me triple the rent, which not only covers my mortgage but also my daily expenses. At night, I lounge shamelessly on the couch in my camisole, binge-watching dramas. Jake walks in through the door. My strap slips off one shoulder, leg propped on the armrest. He freezes mid-step, taking in the scene. Mortified, I scramble to cover myself with a throw blanket. "Why didn't you knock?" He silently produces our contract. His payment grants him unrestricted access to common areas. I bite my tongue, remembering those triple rent checks. Can't afford to piss off the cash cow. Around midnight, I'm cooking instant noodles when Jake emerges from the shower. Towel slung low on his hips. Water droplets cling to his abs as he runs fingers through damp hair. My ears burn at the sight of this half-naked stranger. "Done staring?" He smirks. I nearly drop my chopsticks. He slides onto the breakfast bar stool, requesting a portion. I grudgingly serve him, mentally deducting this from my tenant karmic debt. Changed into gray sweatpants and a white tee, he looks disappointingly ordinary compared to his earlier glory. After eating, he surprises me by washing both our bowls. I hand him a milk carton. Our fingers brush. Suddenly he's crowding my space, breath hot against my ear. My pulse skyrockets as his gravelly whisper hits, "Katie, really don't remember me?" I search his face, those hazel eyes. The faint scar above his brow. Nothing clicks. If I'd met someone like you before, trust me, I'd remember. Slapping his hand away, I retreat to my room. Don't try that pickup artist crap again. Over the next month, Jake's routine emerges, mechanic by day, ghost by night. Our paths cross during late-night snack raids. He starts forgetting groceries in my fridge, then lingering after meals to scrub pans. Not terrible as roommates go. Everything unravels Monday morning. Colleagues avert their eyes as I enter the office. The manager's door slams shut behind me. That client represented 30% of our Q4 projections. Couldn't close the deal yourself? Had to let your sister steal it? M's handiwork. Again. She borrowed my laptop last week. Cloned the client files. Same playbook as when she'd seduced my ex, right down to the fake pregnancy. I confront her at her midtown office. Return my client. M. Poor Katie. She adjusts her Prada blazer. Mr. Wilkins chose better terms. Free market. Darling. Ice crystallizes in my veins. Return him by Friday, or every potential client will learn how you sleep your way through relatives' partners. Let's see who signs with a home-wrecking gold digger. Her smirk falters as I stride out, stilettos cracking marble like gunshots. If she's determined to make my life hell, I won't let her off easy either. I need to win back that client or I'll lose my job, and I actually like this job. You. Emily Taylor trembled with rage, lunging to slap me. No way was I letting her hit me. Dodging her swing, I retaliated with a stinging slap that sent her crumpling to the floor in theatrical tears. Before I could process this, someone shoved me violently. My hip smashed into the sharp edge of a desk as my ankle twisted painfully in my heels. Michael Johnson, of course, stood there glowering. Emily immediately scrambled toward him, spinning a sob story about how I'd viciously attacked her, harassed her, and publicly humiliated her for sport. "Katie, how could you?" Michael roared. "She's pregnant. I never thought you'd sink this low. That snake stole my client." I spat. The client had been my lead originally, one I'd handed to Emily after our breakup. Turns out Michael had been funneling my accounts to her the moment we split, claiming they were his connections to begin with. The audacity of this leech. Trying to reclaim favors he never earned. Fury white hot. I grabbed the nearest vase and smashed it over his head. "May you two cockroaches stay happily entangled forever." I sneered, striding past Emily's shrieks and Michael's groans. 3 wasted years flashed through my mind, no love. Just revulsion. He'd slept with my sister. Gotten her pregnant. Then helped her poach my clients. Disgusting. I wandered the city aimlessly instead of returning to the office. Losing a major account meant termination anyway. Home found me guzzling wine on the couch when Jake walked in. Crying? He frowned. I ignored him, tilting the bottle to my lips until he snatched it away. Meeting his gaze broke something in me. Jake. I'm cursed. The whole story tumbled out, Emily stealing Michael. The client sabotage. The physical confrontation. Every fresh humiliation spilled over until I was clutching his neck, weeping into his shoulder. He rubbed my back, murmuring, "He's not worth your tears." Truthfully, I wasn't crying over the betrayal. I was mourning the career crash, unemployment, financial freefall, starting over in a job I'd hate. When the tears dried, Jake brought a warm towel to wipe my face, then knelt to massage arnica into my swollen ankle with surprising tenderness. Michael had never treated me this kindly in 3 years. After requesting leave to await termination, I updated my resume between fruitless job searches. Jake placed a bowl of sliced mango beside me. Job hunting? Obviously. I muttered. They'll fire me over the lost client. Did you enjoy your previous job? Jake asked again. I nodded emphatically, yes. I loved architectural design. It was my dream to design iconic structures for cities. Jake didn't respond, stepping onto the balcony to smoke. His profile looked striking, angular jaw clenched around the cigarette. Phone glowing in his hand, equal parts rugged and refined. Unusually, he stayed home with me all day instead of going to the garage. He cooked Southern comfort food, then dominated our gaming session with flawless strategy, carrying us to victory all afternoon. I swear he could go pro. Beautiful distractions make troubles fade. At dinner, Jake took me to an upscale home-style restaurant. The spread made me pause. Sweet and sour fish, crab, stuffed pork meatballs, delicate tofu soup, every dish my ultimate comfort food. How'd you know my favorites? I blurted out. He met my eyes briefly, piled more food on my plate without answering. When he dropped me home later, I didn't question his vague errands to run. Roommates don't pry. Emily's midnight call shattered the peace. Katie, you monster. She sobbed. Did you have Michael beaten half to death? 3 years together and you. Wait. Mike got jumped? I sat bolt upright. You didn't know? His face is. Should have finished the job. I laughed. Hanging up. Thrilled. I bounced on my bed until Jake returned, cornering him in the foyer. I demanded, was that you? Guilty. His gaze darkened. That trash didn't deserve. You're amazing. I threw my arms around his neck. Suddenly, his hands locked around my waist, pinning me against the entryway cabinet. Our bodies pressed together through thin fabric, his heat searing my skin. My pulse raced as his mouth hovered dangerously close. Jake? The corner of his lips twitched. Ankle better? Why, yeah. I stammered, mortified I'd imagined the tension. He simply examined my injury, reapplied ointment with clinical care. Thanks for handling that jerk. I murmured. Stop crying over losers. He flicked my forehead. Messes up your face. Excuse me? I kicked at his chest playfully. My mom says I'm gorgeous. He caught my foot, both of us collapsing into laughter. You're one of the good ones. Jake. Releasing me abruptly. He scowled. Don't insult me. The slam of his bedroom door echoed his irritation. With that, Jake Wilson stood up and left. I watched Jake's retreating figure, utterly confused about why he'd gotten so angry. I'd called him a good guy, shouldn't that make him happy? Definitely not someone to mess with. Jake went to the auto shop early the next morning. I took another day off, hitting the supermarket to restock groceries and household supplies. Back home, I mindlessly played video games, losing match after match. The stark contrast to when Jake was around made me grumpy. I shut off the console and napped all afternoon. My phone rang, jolting me awake. Emily Taylor's smug voice pierced through. Katie, those thugs you hired to beat up Mike? They're already in custody. Enjoy watching your accomplice rot in jail. I said, forcing calm. I've ignored your previous schemes. Tell Mike to drop this. Her laughter crackled through the receiver. Dream on. You should worry about yourself. When they flip on you, you'll be joining them in handcuffs. The line went dead. I threw on clothes, frantically calling Jake. No answer. Rushing to the police station, I found Emily preening in the lobby. Couldn't wait to get here? She mocked. Must have felt great ordering that beating. The officers will cuff you next. I'll walk away from that client. I bargained. Voice low. You can keep Mike. Just let him go. We've pressed charges. Emily smirked. The law doesn't care about your deals. Studying her manicured nails. I smiled coldly. If Jake gets hurt, you'd better watch that precious baby bump of yours. She recoiled, hands flying to her stomach. Why, you wouldn't dare. Wouldn't I? I turned away, dialing the number I'd sworn never to use again. My mother's icy voice answered as Jake emerged from interrogation, unscathed. Katie? He looked puzzled as I rushed over, checking him for injuries. Across the room, Emily's lawyer hissed, your boyfriend's the hero here. Security footage shows Mike drunkenly harassing a waitress. We're advising your husband to settle unless you want mutual assault charges. Watching Emily's face purple with rage was sweeter than victory. This isn't over. She spat. My gaze dropped meaningfully to her midriff. She fled, heels clacking furiously. Back at the auto shop, I lingered despite the oil stains. Home felt too empty, too vulnerable. Every engine rev made me jump. What if Mike came for revenge? Jake's steady presence behind the tool chest became my anchor. His occasional smirk when catching me stare more comforting than I'd ever admit. If that bastard dares show up, I won't let him off easy. At the auto shop, Jake was modifying a car while I sat perched on a nearby railing watching him work. He was incredibly skilled. Clients kept raving about his custom builds, calling out Jake's the man every 5 seconds. The moment the last customer left, Jake suddenly strode over and stopped inches from me. My throat went dry under his intense gaze. Planning to babysit me all day? His breath warmed my face. I flushed, mumbling, I got bored home alone. I'll just watch you work. Promise I won't be a distraction. His dismissiveness stung more than I'd admit. Jake gripped my chin, forcing eye contact. Bad liars shouldn't try bluffing. What? You're worried Mike will retaliate against me. That's why you're glued to this garage. His smirk held zero uncertainty. I gaped. Of course he'd seen through me. Guilt twisted my stomach. He'd gotten involved because of my mess with Mike. Before I could stammer excuses, Jake chuckled darkly. Relax, princess. That coward's still pissing himself from last time. Ooh, someone's got a guardian angel. A mechanic catcalled. Better lock that down. Boss. Beat it. Jake growled, though amusement lingered as his crew scattered. My ears burned crimson. He wasn't wrong. Jake had hospitalized Mike in self-defense and walked away praised as a hero. My anxiety was pointless. I should go, I muttered. Without warning, Jake hoisted me onto a workbench, caging me between his arms. My heart stuttered as he leaned in, his voice dropping to gravel. You're blushing, Katie. Am not. The weak protest only made him laugh. Squirming, I insisted. Seriously, I need to leave. Be a good girl and wait here. I'll take you somewhere nice after. His coaxing tone shouldn't have worked. Yet I stayed rooted until closing. 8 hours later, I realized this massive operation was Jake's. Not some struggling mechanic, the man owned the place. He led me to an upscale steakhouse my father only used for schmoozing clients. I tugged his sleeve. This is too much. Let's just grab burgers. Since when do you worry about my wallet? He ordered half the menu anyway, including all my favorites. When a diamond bracelet appeared beside my dessert, I froze. Happy birthday, Catherine. The weight of his gesture crushed me. My own father and birth mother had forgotten. My vision blurred. Ah, don't cry. Unless you're swooning over my charm. Jake's teasing grin couldn't hide the tenderness in his eyes. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Jake, how did you even know? Because I had never forgotten. Jake suddenly became serious. I was taken aback. What? He didn't respond, quietly helping me peel crabs. That night, Jake took me to the mountaintop to release sky lanterns and prepared countless fireworks, romantic gestures Mike had never offered me. Make a wish, Jake, I urged as golden sparks reflected in his eyes. He nodded and shouted to the heavens. First wish for Katie's longevity. Second wish for Katie's perpetual health. What about the third? I impulsively interrupted. The laughter faded from Jake's eyes. There isn't one. He left the classic poem's most famous line unfinished. Third wish that we might reunite like nesting swallows each spring. The omission made me feel foolishly presumptuous. My birthday celebration became bittersweet. During these 2 months of medical leave, I'd fallen for Jake's tender patience and fierce protectiveness. When returning to resign, my manager poured tea himself. Team leader Katie recovered? Excellent! We're promoting you to chief designer. A major client specifically requested you. Leaving his office in a daze, I immediately called Jake. They didn't fire me. Got promoted instead. Of course. His warm chuckle resonated. Our Katie's exceptional. My heart fluttered at our. Let me treat you to dinner. I'm leaving. His words stole my breath. Flight's at 4. He said from the airport. Needles pierced my chest. He hadn't even mentioned moving. That night, Em stormed into my apartment. What did you tell the clients? Got me fired. I smirked. Stolen opportunities were never truly yours. Alone. I stared at Jake's untouched belongings. He hadn't terminated the lease. Spring moonlight filtered through his abandoned sketchbooks, illuminating half-finished designs of swallow motifs. I wasn't fired from the company, it was Emily who lost her job instead. The irony tasted sweeter than Grandma's apple pie. Em trembled with rage while her mother, my stepmonster, jabbed a finger at me. Katie! How dare you sabotage your own sister? We're family. What's your damn problem? Her shrill voice could shatter glass. Family? I snorted. When she stole my boyfriend, you said keep it in the family. When she poached my clients and nearly got me fired, where was this family crap? Save your breath. Lady. The two harpies had crossed every line. After moving out last month, I'd officially divorced myself from their toxic circus. Em cowered behind her baby bump while her mother lunged at me. Normally I'd take the high road. But today? Hell no. Not after Jake ghosted me. My nails raked crimson trails down her cheek as we tumbled onto the carpet. I'll make sure that bastard child never sees daylight. I hissed, tearing clumps of bleached hair from her scalp. The threat worked, they fled like cockroaches under light. Alone in our empty apartment. The silence pressed harder than their drama. Jake's coffee mug still sat by the sink. His mechanic's jacket draped over the chair. 2 weeks without his texts. His laugh. His arms around me when deadlines crushed my soul. Even Mike's betrayal hadn't hollowed me out like this. My thumb hovered over his contact. 3 rings. 4. Then that gravelly voice I'd know anywhere. Katie? Tears blurred my vision. Jake, where are you? Your stuff's still here. Lease's up next week. My voice cracked despite digging nails into my palm. Grandma's place in Denver. Her COPD's worse. Static filled the pause. Trash the stuff. I'll send for it. The finality crushed my ribs. For 26 years I'd been my mother's daughter, passive. Waiting for life to happen. Not this time. 3 all-nighters later. I aced the Thompson account. Took emergency leave. Drove 8 hours to that mountain town. Jake's favorite wrench still rolling in my glove compartment. The Wilson family lodge glowed amber against snowy peaks. 10:23 p.m. Engine off. Deep breath. Time to fight for what's mine. I pulled up to a distinctive boutique hotel and called Jake. Jake. I'm here. What's wrong? Did something happen? His voice held tension. Likely because of the late hour. Come outside. Jake didn't ask questions. Striding out in his usual tank top and shorts, that effortlessly disheveled look that made him equal parts troublemaker and heartthrob. My throat tightened watching him approach. Equal parts elation and anguish twisting my chest. Katie! Jake stood frozen until I rolled down the window and shouted. He practically lunged toward the car, yanking the door open. We stared at each other, the air crackling with unspoken words. Finally, Jake shoved his hand toward my mouth. Bite me. Need to know this isn't a dream. I sank my teeth into his palm. Jake hissed, then hauled me out of the car and carried me toward the hotel. I didn't protest. After 24 hours behind the wheel, my legs had turned to jelly. Catcalls erupted from the patio where guests sipped beers around fire pits. Yo, Jake! Who's the cutie? Your main squeeze? I buried my flaming face against Jake's chest as he growled. Shut it or clear out. Instead of taking me to a guest room, Jake carried me straight to his quarters. His signature cedarwood scent mixed with lingering cigarette smoke hit me the moment we entered. He pinned me against the door before my feet touched ground. Katie. His thumb brushed my jawline. Voice rough. You shouldn't have come here. You know what this means? I nodded fiercely. Good girl. The words rasped from him like gravel. Our collision was equal parts desperation and precision, months of longing poured into a kiss that left me breathless. Jake carried me to bed without pretense. We didn't speak. Didn't hesitate. He chanted my name like a prayer until dawn streaked the curtains. I woke alone, finding folded traditional attire on the dresser. Downstairs, a spry elderly woman waved me over. Eat up, sweetheart. Jake's handling business, back soon. Thank you, Grandma. The warm congee settled my nerves. Jake's grandmother studied me over her teacup, eyes twinkling. So when's the wedding? I choked on my rice. Jake's laugh rumbled from the doorway. Don't scare her off, Nana. Took me years to find this one. The old woman snorted. Better lock it down before she wises up. Jake slid beside me, fingers intertwining with mine under the table. His thumb traced circles on my palm, a silent promise more binding than any ring. Grandma scolded Jake playfully, telling him to treat me better since a wife this beautiful will attract too much attention. The moment she left, Jake immediately wrapped his arm around my waist. You look stunning in by traditional dress, he murmured before kissing me. I never resisted his kisses, they tasted sweet, like candy. He took me exploring through Dolly ancient town where we tried grilled milk fans, their crispy sweetness carrying floral rose notes. Though many tourists stared at my ethnic attire, Jake scowled at every photo request, eventually dragging me back to our lodgings. That night beneath star-drenched skies, he announced tomorrow's mountain hike would require sportswear instead. I laughed. You're being ridiculous, Jake. People just wanted pictures. His expression turned serious. Katie, you've no idea what these 5 years did to me. Don't you remember anything? When I shook my head, he pinched my cheek affectionately. Heartless girl. The story unfolded during my college trip here. Jake had delivered flowers for a friend only to get cruelly rejected. She called me a delusional toad. He recalled. I'd intervened by fake confessing feelings for him, declaring any guy can become handsome if he puts in effort. My offhand "maybe I'll date you if you slim down" became his 2-year transformation drive. By the time he tracked me down, I was already with Mike. You haunted my youth with that casual joke, Jake confessed. My heart ached imagining him silently watching over me those years. We wasted half a decade, I whispered before kissing him properly. Our extended dolly stay ended with Grandma shooing us home. Warning: don't let anyone steal my perfect granddaughter-in-law. Back in the city, I discovered Em and Mike's engagement news while Jake insisted I rest as he cleaned. The man who once needed protection now sheltered me completely. Our lost time fueling determination to never separate again. I knew they were deliberately flaunting it in front of me. Em had successfully climbed the social ladder. And her daughter had too. They were practically bursting with smugness. On the engagement day, I showed up with Jake. When Em and Mike saw us together, they sneered. Katie, even after being dumped, you didn't have to stoop this low by dating a mechanic. Have you lost your mind? A mechanic's still better than trash like you. I shot back coldly. Sleeping with your sister-in-law and still having the nerve to get engaged? Mike trembled with rage, shifting his mockery to Jake. You're just after the Bennett family's money, aren't you? Too bad none of it will go to Katie. Your little scheme failed. Just as Mike gloated, his father hurried over, bowing obsequiously. Mr. Wilson, had I known you were coming, I'd have arranged a proper welcome. The man practically oozed sycophancy, etching the word bootlicker across his forehead. The entire room gaped at Jake, myself included, until Mr. Johnson revealed his identity, the sole heir to the Wilson family's conglomerate. Suddenly, everyone swarmed Jake, desperate for business favors. Even Mike did a full 180, apologizing so profusely he might as well have kneeled and called him Dad. Jake glanced at Mike before addressing his father. Your son's a disgrace. Can't even manage your own family? My fault entirely. Mr. Wilson. Mr. Johnson groveled. I'll discipline him properly. Jake led me away. Back home, I slumped on the couch, struggling to process everything. The guy who ran that massive auto shop wasn't just not poor, he was filthy rich. My job? I finally asked. You arranged it? He grinned mischievously. They fired the future Mrs. Wilson? Might as well close up shop. And Em losing her position? Served her right for bullying you. I hugged him, overwhelmed by how he'd quietly fought my battles. Later, Jake took me to meet his parents, expecting stuffy elites. I was stunned when Mrs. Wilson gifted me their family heirloom bracelet for daughters-in-law. Jake explained. Mr. Wilson discussed promoting me to headquarters next year if I kept up the good work. During chess afterward, I let the older man win a few moves. Beaming, he ordered Jake to treat her right. Damn, babe, Jake teased afterward. My parents are picky. But you had them wrapped around your finger. Your grandmother approved me first. I laughed. That helped. True to his word, Mrs. Wilson started sending homemade soups and family dinner invites. Mr. Wilson always stayed home those nights, loves beating you at chess. Jake joked, adding I'd soon outrank him in the family. Deep down, I knew their kindness stemmed from Jake's devotion. As wedding plans solidified, my estranged father's opinion meant nothing. My mother, traveling abroad, simply said, be happy. I'll send gifts. When my uncle cursed her for being irresponsible, I shrugged. She was, but so what? For once, I had real family. As someone who loves life, Katie is an artist who always lives on her own terms. When my dad found out I had become the daughter-in-law of the Wilson family, he came to me asking for help securing investments. "You're different now," he pleaded. "I can tell Jake adores you, and the Wilsons value you highly. Help save Dad's company." I smiled. "Sure. Divorce your second wife. Kick him out. And I'll consider it." "Katie, don't push it." My father pointed at me angrily, accusing me of ingratitude after everything he'd done to raise me. I threw him out, forbidding him from attending my wedding, and told Jake not to bother showing him any courtesy. He doesn't deserve it. Jake held me close. "I won't ever become like him." He vowed to be a devoted father to our future children, adding, "You'll always have me." And Mike broke up after his family discovered how she'd schemed her way into their lives, deeming her unfit to marry into the Johnsons. The Wilsons cut business ties with the Johnsons too, citing their lack of integrity. When Mike came begging multiple times, Jake quietly had him shipped off somewhere. He always protected me fiercely. Our lavish wedding showcased the Wilsons' respect for me, fueled by Jake's devotion. I didn't invite my father. Instead, uncles from my maternal family gave me away with pride. Though I'd planned to work until maternity leave, Mr. Wilson insisted Jake take me to Dolly for prenatal rest. His grandmother brewed daily tonics while Jake explored the countryside with me. The Wilsons visited often. Our daughter arrived, nicknamed Sweetie after my pregnancy cravings. She looks just like me, and Jake adores her. The entire Wilson family spoils her rotten, even when she barges into board meetings. Mr. Wilson indulges her without a single reprimand. Jake bathes her nightly, reads bedtime stories, and never misses a parenting class. Friends tease him about being a daddy's girl enabler, but he smirks. They're just jealous. Watching him dote on her, I fake pouted. "Jake, do you even love me anymore? It's all about Sweetie now." I banned him from our bed. Laughing from the rug, he countered, "Ungrateful woman. I'd give you my heartbeat if you asked. You're both my everything."